Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's not even 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, man, I got a lot to talk about today. Today's one of those days where I didn't even let my hair dry after my shower this morning. I just barely finished shaving because I had so many thoughts on what I want to talk about here. It's one of those days when I'm really fired up. It's about the whole Herschel Walker, Christian Walker. And now there's one other person that I'm mainly going to talk about. Her name is Dana Loesch. She's the former NRA spokeswoman. And man, it actually just it blows me away. Her thoughts on all this. All right, let me start at the very beginning here. All right, Herschel Walker running for Senate, right, in Georgia against Reverend Warnock. It's come out recently that he's has at least 4 different women that he's had children with. And Christian Walker, and let me talk about Christian Walker for a second. For the sake of this video, I'm going to call what I'm going to talk about mainly in this video, I'm going to call it the procedure. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. What has become illegal in certain states like Texas, Oklahoma, probably Ohio. I'm going to call it the procedure for this video. All right, so Christian Walker. Every video I've done so far has got a lot of views. He makes a spectacle of himself out in public and in his videos. To me, it just seemed like he wanted attention. It really seemed like I did one video that that got a lot of views that I was very sincere, where I said I know what's wrong with Christian Walker, that he had a personality defect. I forgot what it was called. Hyperactivity. I forgot what it was called. But if you go back to the video where I say I know what's wrong with Christian Walker, and I was serious about that up until this latest video. All right, so Christian Walker does a video, and it kind of explains what half the stuff that he's been ranting about men and women and different things. It kind of puts it in perspective. I wish he had come out with this video. I don't agree with everything he says, but I actually had some empathy for him in this video. I actually watched the whole video, and I have nothing bad to say about it. I can't say I agree with all his views. He's a Christian, is a hardcore conservative, and his thought process isn't anywhere near my kind of empathy thought process. But he called out his father. He called out his father, flat out called him out, that he's a hypocrite for saying that he's a good family man and against having the procedure and all this. And he just put it all out there, and I believe him. He's a conservative. He's a conservative, just like his father. He's the son of this man. He has no motive to make this up. I believe him 100%. Okay, so it looks like Herschel Walker's caught out being pretty much a big fat hypocrite, and not to mention the domestic violence situations that happened, which I find particularly reprehensible. Christian Walker calls his father out for that, threatening him and his mother's life and other stuff like that. So I was curious. I'm kind of glad I waited to make this video, because I was just going to talk about Herschel and his son Christian, and how I believe Christian 100%. And it does make Herschel Walker and a lot of the people on the right hypocrites. I was going to talk about that until this video. Now I'm going to put this video right up on top so you can see this. Dana Loesch, former spokeswoman for the NRA. Now, reading through this article, I didn't realize she had some issues before with trolling Parkland survivors. She's had some other issues. How somebody could be so for the Second Amendment and protecting everything, carrying these weapons everywhere, but still call themselves pro-life. I never understood that. But when you listen to this video and you watch this woman, it just blew me away. Let me sum up what she said. First of all, she said, this isn't a contradiction. Don't get me wrong, so because she knows what people are going to think. Because she's basically saying she doesn't care. She doesn't care at all. She doesn't care. No, her, so what? Doesn't matter. All that matters is winning. She doesn't care if if Herschel Walker did this, if he did this to women. And then she does this. She calls these women skanks. Yeah. So it's all, and then she goes on to say that she doesn't want her money going for this as a form of birth control for these. She used that word again, that she described these women, because they're all, these low moral women. And she doesn't want her tax dollars going for that. Okay, let me unpack all this. First thing she said is winning is a virtue. That's all that matters. She made that obvious right from the beginning of this video. That's all that matters to her, winning. I actually had to look up the word virtue. I know what it means, but I want to try to understand what she thinks it means. It means of high moral character. For me, winning doesn't mean anything to me. All that matters is my happiness, my health, and the people that I love, and consequently the rest of the people of the earth, all living things. That's what matters to me. Winning has never mattered to me. That's why I didn't join the army. It's why I never played team sports. I like to beat myself, like for skiing, where I compete against myself, but I've never been a team player. Winning doesn't mean squat to me. But Dana Loesch says, this is it. That's all that matters. That's all that matters to her is winning. She just put that out there. She couldn't care less about, basically she's saying she couldn't care less about the procedure or if Herschel Walker had it. And then she goes on to say, all that matters to her really is her tax dollars going for this money. So I wish she would just be more transparent, because it has nothing to do with life, pro-life or anything like that. If most pro-lifers are like Dana Loesch, it's just about money and degrading women and putting men at a different standard than women. I guess the way she makes it sound. And, men can go around and rut like animals, but that's in their nature. It's okay, that's what they were meant to do. But women need to stay home and virtuous and in the kitchen. Like I said, I've dated a lot. I've dated my share of women. And let me tell you this, women are just, I can't believe I have to say this. Women, I can't believe I have to say this in 2022. Women are exactly like men, or sometimes even have higher sex drives than men. Some of the women I dated just blew me away with their sex drives and their fantasies. Yes, they have fantasies, they have sex drives, and it just seems, for whatever messed up reason, denial or whatever in these people's heads, they think that, men are blameless in all this. Okay? And it's all about money. So she calls these particular women, she doesn't want her tax dollars going for this procedure. And then she goes on to say that these particular women seem to use it as a form of birth control. And she degrades all women who have had this procedure. I brought this up before. When they made this procedure illegal in most states, what about the people that have substance abuse problems? When you don't care about yourself, you don't go to the doctor. When you have the disease of addiction or alcoholism, all the women that I dated, I've had to go through this before. I've had to go through the procedure. Because when you have this disease, and when you're end up being intimate with other people that have this disease, you don't care for yourself. If you're using these types of substances, it's kind of, I don't know if this has occurred to people, but most people that have addiction or alcohol problems don't go and get birth control. They're living in the moment. They have these issues, they have this disease, and the last thing they're thinking about is going to get the pill. And a lot of them end up pregnant. Now, I brought this up when they first decided to make this procedure illegal. What about all these women and men that are involved in this, in addiction, and now find themselves expecting a child? What's going to happen? They already can't take care of themselves. And there's millions of these people across the country. And now they're trying to make this procedure illegal all across the country. And like I said, the people most likely to not use birth control are probably the drug addicted community. And they're going to be the ones most likely to be forced to have these kids. What do you think is going to happen to these kids? they're going to follow the same cycle of addiction and unwanted pregnancies and everything down the road. It's going to compound the problem so much more instead of actually looking at the actual problem. And instead of all this, I guess you would call it virtue singling. I can't believe I actually had to look up the word virtue. All that matters to her is winning. Winning is a virtue. You know, she couldn't care less. She actually says she couldn't care less if Herschel Walker did away with a nest full of baby eagles. Couldn't care less. You know, she couldn't care what he did away with. All that matters is winning and taking back the Senate so she could tell other people what to do and how she wants to hoard her tax dollars and not let any of her tax dollars go to women who might need help. And they call themselves Christians. I'm sorry if I was a little disjointed in this video, but I was so fired up. I didn't prepare this video. I just wanted to do it from the heart, and it just blows me away. Watch the video of Dana Loesch. It's just incredible that people like this call themselves Christians. Unbelievable. Winning is a virtue. It's all that matters to them. I can't believe I had to look up the word virtue. I know what it means. Does she? Have a good Thursday.